Hagerty, who also served as U.S. ambassador to Japan
Yes,
during the
Margaret.
first Trump administration. It's good to have you here.
It's good to be with you.
So Donald Trump has this sweeping mandate, as do Republicans. Do you see this as an unrestrained presidency?
I think this is a presidency that has a mandate like we haven't seen, as you mentioned, in 36 years. The American public has spoken loud and clear. And I think if you go back to your interview with Bob, there are a number of places where Washington has been out of touch with the American people. You mentioned Ukraine. I think that's a great example. The American people want sovereignty protected here in America before we spend our funds and resources protecting the sovereignty of another nation. You think about it. We've sent $175 billion of U.S. aid to Ukraine. That's more than 3 times the entire annual budget of the U.S. Marine Corps. I've been one of the few senators in the United States Senate who has voted and has opposed every cent of this Ukraine aid.
Right.
I've been listening to the American people. We need to focus on our own issues first. And I've taken a lot of heat over it from Mitch McConnell, from the Wall Street Journal.
Yeah.
But this is what the American people spoke up and want us to do. We should never have been in Ukraine. It's a result of failed policies, failed energy policies, the
There's
failure
no U.S.
in Afghanistan.
presence in Ukraine. Are you
No,
talking
but
about
our funds. I'm talking about the vast amount of funds. Again, $175 billion is a tremendous amount. As I said, more than 3 times the budget of the U.S. Marine Corps. The American people want to focus on fixing our problems here. And with the borders collapse, with crime in the cities, we've got to pay attention to America.
So does that
first.
mean just cuts to U.S. military aid to all countries?
What it means is that we need to take a very deliberate focus on America first. And we need to be leading from a position of strength, Margaret. As I said, we would not be in this position. Now what we have is an administration that's allowing Russia to sell at a $60 a barrel cap. The argument they make that reduces Russia's profits. What it does actually is it subsidizes China to compete again unfairly against us with an energy cost advantage.
Right.
And we keep Vladimir Putin fully funding this war in Ukraine. We need to stop that. We need to go back to producing our own energy and take Russia out. Interestingly, I'll call this the Trump effect. But just in the past 72 hours, what we've seen is the EU say maybe we should replace Russian LNG with U.S. LNG. You've seen in New York City, we're not going to issue debit cards to illegal immigrants anymore. Migrant caravans are being broken up below the border and turned around. The UK has said we're going to step our defense budget up to about 2.5%, all since President Trump was elected.
Some of that was in process already, but let me ask you specifically on Ukraine. So Hungary's prime minister has said that Donald Trump has told him he will cut off support to Ukraine. You are saying here, I think, in the new Congress, there will be no more aid to Ukraine.
I've certainly not voted for any aid.
I know
to
you
Ukraine.
haven't.
And I think President Trump will find
is that the mandate?
President Trump will find a way to deal with this. I'm not going to get ahead of him. I'm certain that he's going to find a way to navigate this that's in the interest of the American people and will stop the carnage. Look, what's happened in Ukraine is terrible. People are dying. They continue to die.
But
we need to stop this.
But here's the thing. We also are seeing this alignment of like an axis of adversaries, right? You have Iranian equipment. You have Chinese
Deeply
equipment.
Concerning, yes.
Right. You have North Korean personnel on the battlefield. So this idea that Ukraine is somehow divorced from the rest of geopolitics doesn't seem to be bearing out. It's of deep concern to some of our Asian allies, Japan, South Korea. So how are you going to be able to do this without complicating the chessboard?
Well, I think it's become complicated because America has not been standing in a position of strength. The reason is that Russia has been fully funded because of the policies that allowed them to sell energy.
Well,
Iran, we had them shut down. Iran was
Russia,
broke.
Whether or not they're
now they're able to fund terror all over the world. We had a maximum pressure
because
campaign.
they have all these other adversaries that they're doing business with, right?
They were not
China.
able to do that under the Trump administration. That's why we saw peace breaking out in the Middle East. Without Iran being shut down, which is what we did under the maximum pressure campaign, President Trump led this. We were able to move our embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. Everybody said it couldn't happen. It did.
Yeah.
The Abraham Accords, peace was breaking out in the Middle East because Iran could not fund terror. As soon as the Biden administration came in, they stopped enforcing the sanctions.
There were attacks by Iran during the Trump administration.
Nothing to the level that we've seen
And
here.
the assassination of Qasem Soleimani. But on the Middle East, Israel's prime minister